Most young people with autism aren't struggling with learning. They're struggling dealing with a system that wasn't designed around their needs. In this video, I'll explain the difficulties that are visible in the classroom, the ones that we do see, and the ones that build quietly until the kids either shut down or completely explode. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll see your child's school experience and your role as a parent very differently. Before I go any further, I want to be really clear. There's no single autistic experience, no one profile, no one way this shows up. Two children in the same classroom with autism can experience school in completely different ways. So as you listen, take in what fits your child. If something doesn't fit, leave it. This isn't about labels, it's about understanding each young person's individual needs. So, here's the shift that makes everything make more sense. School isn't just a place to learn, it's a performance environment. What I mean by that is, children are expected to sit still for long periods of time, manage emotions in public, shift attention quickly, follow rules that aren't always explained, cope with noise, movement, unpredictability, complete school tasks on command, and still while looking okay doing it. And that doesn't just apply to behaviour and social expectations, it applies to assessment as well. At school, children aren't just expected to know things, they're expected to prove what they know, on demand, in a specific way, under time pressure, often in silence, often in unfamiliar formats. For many autistic young people, exams and tests don't measure what they can understand. They measure how well they can perform under stress. All of this generally means that they can't be themselves. They're constantly adjusting, masking, copying, holding things in just to fit in. That effort is invisible, but it's exhausting. And you might say, hey, that's really critical coming from someone who's worked in schools for so long. Don't get me wrong, I do believe that schools are really important in child development, but I'm here to call it as I see it. For an autistic person, school is one big performance, not just an experience, and that comes with a lot of pressure. Why coping has a cost. A child can look like they're coping and still be under enormous pressure. So when parents say, they hold it together at school, but fall apart at home, that's not confusing. That's what happens when a nervous system's been working overtime all day. Then it finally reaches a place where it doesn't have to perform anymore. Why they know how isn't the point. Another piece parents are rarely told is schools often ask kids to do things before they're ready to do them independently. Things like organising themselves, remembering multi-step instructions, starting work without support, shifting tasks quickly, keeping up with the pace and time pressure. Your child might understand the work. They might be able to do it at home when they're relaxed and calm. But understanding it and being able to do it in the moment, in that environment, all day long, are very different things. Social demands, the part that drains kids quietly. School's also a constant social environment. Autistic kids are expected to read facial expressions and tone, know when to talk and when not to, understand jokes, sarcasm, teasing, navigate shifting friendships, follow social rules that change, depending on the teacher, the group, and the moment. Most of these rules are never properly explained. I see some friendship groups being incredibly complex to understand. Depending on their mood, some kids can be really friendly one moment and then completely flip the next. This inconsistency is difficult even for a neurotypical child to navigate. So many autistic kids are constantly asking themselves, am I doing this right? Did I miss something? Why did that reaction change? That level of monitoring takes a huge amount of energy. Your child isn't just learning content at school. They're performing social competence all day long. Some mask heavily, some withdraw, some lose control. Why communication changes performance. Here's the part that often gets missed, because when teachers don't understand what's happening underneath, they only respond to what they see. And in a performance environment like school, what they usually see is the end point, the shutdown, the refusal, the escalation. But when a teacher understands how a child's stress builds before that point, they can change conditions earlier. That's when performance pressure eases, not because expectations disappear, but because the child isn't being asked to perform at the very edge of their capacity all day long. This is why communicating with teachers matters so much. It's not about explaining autism, it's about making the invisible visible early enough for support to actually work. It's about the teacher understanding how the young person can be encouraged to be themselves and how they can support them to release the pressure. The best way to work with a new teacher. After working with teachers for years, I know that they are flat out busy. Your child may have needs, but they have a classroom full of kids with needs too. Sometimes there's not enough time in the day to plan adjustments for all of them. That's not the teacher's fault. That's the system's fault. This matters because blaming the teacher doesn't help anyone. Understanding the system and how to work in it really does. Teachers do an amazing job, and I really take my hat off to them. One of the things that I hear commonly is that they wish they had more time to support the really complex young people in their classes. So the way parents try to approach teachers really matters. Trying to have a 45-minute conversation the first morning you drop your child off probably isn't going to work. Mornings are chaos. Teachers are trying to settle an entire class. A more effective approach is put the information in writing as early as possible. That gives teachers a chance to read it when they have time, come back to it, and think about it and how it fits into their classroom. That type of information helps teachers respond earlier, not just react later. Those early face-to-face moments when you're doing the pickups or drop-offs are best used to establish a positive, friendly relationship, show that you're approachable, and build trust. You're laying the groundwork. So, what to say? When you do share information, think from the perspective of that you're translating what they see instead of trying to explain it. You can use this structure, it really helps. When you see something, it actually means this. What helps before they escalate is... So a good example of what you could write is, when she's refusing work, it's usually a sign that she's overloaded, not disengaged. What helps is a brief pause or a reduced demand before things tip. What actually helps? When school works better for autistic kids, it's usually because adults respond earlier. Support's proactive, not reactive. Expectations flex before stress peaks. Behaviour is treated as information, not defiance. That's not lowering standards, that's lowering the need to put on a performance. That's meeting the child where their nervous system actually is. The takeaway message. Autistic children don't need school to be easier. They need school to be earlier. Earlier understanding, earlier support, earlier adjustment. And when adults respond sooner, behaviour doesn't have to get louder to be heard. If school is hard for your autistic child, it doesn't mean they don't belong at school, they're failing, or that nothing will ever work. It means the environment is asking a lot, often more than people realise. And when parents really and truly understand why school is hard, they can stop doubting themselves and start advocating with clarity instead of desperation. And that's why I'm on a mission to help as many parents as possible who have neurodiverse kids that are struggling in school. If you're watching, make sure you're following my Facebook page and you subscribe to this channel. There's a heap of free content to come. You don't have to walk this path alone.